Hi folks, welcome to Beaver Works. Today I'm going to be putting together a new farm dolly, pretty much the same as the old one, and the directions for assembly are all in the manual that comes with the mill. Really the update would be this piece right here. This is the new way that the tongue clamps onto the beam. And it's got these pieces here inside, which are adapters for a manual beam, or you can just take them out for fitting onto the larger auto beam. I'm gonna have both mills running, so having that aspect is pretty important. And then these would be the clamps for clamping the dolly, the wheel assembly, on further back, and similar. They have a piece there that helps adapt to a manual mill beam as well. You're mostly using either 17 or 19 millimeter sockets on this. Now on this piece, you're working with all 19 millimeter nuts and bolts, and for these pieces that have two holes on the end, you're going to go with the lower one, okay? And just like that, and we'll run around and do that 4 times. All right, so that's our first assembly piece. Should look like that. Angle iron on the outside, plate up top, bolt in the bottom hole, L's facing the interior. All right, so next we're going to be adding these cross braces to the end frames. Now, on this piece right here, which does get oriented like that, we're going to be attaching to the bottom 2 sets of holes. Now, the nuts and bolts on this are 17 millimeter. So just like that, and we do want this L piece sticking up from the bottom. So those 2. Again, looking to have this piece facing in. All right, next we've got the spring assemblies. Come just like this. Now they are reversible in that if for some reason you needed to swap these 2 bolts to this direction, just swap the orientation for them to fit the angle, because they will slide into the 2 bolt holes at the bottom here. Working with 19 millimeters on this one. All right, so here is where I realized my mic failed. So pointing out on the spring there, that side there, with the bolt, that's the front, and that other side, that's the back. So when you're setting up, your hitch is going in that direction, and then your license plate is going on the back. My farm dolly is registered here in the US. Down here, you'll see on the axle, there's that hole that'll fit onto a bolt head. And then that side I already got started. You'll use these U-bolt and plate combination. Again, there's a hole in the middle of the plate that fits over a nut, and then the U-bolt will go over the axle and clamp it all together. Alright, getting the wheel covers set up here. Pretty simple, just 2 bolts that line up with 2 holes on the fenders. I believe these are 17 millimeter. Alright, getting the wheel bearing and hub assembly all put together. This is all diagrammed with the kit as well. So first you'll have this sealer that goes right up against the paint, and then the rubber seal behind it, putting a little grease on everything just to help it seal. There's that washer, then the rubber seal. Next, that's your larger bearing. That goes in closer to the axle on the back side of the wheel bearing. Greased up, just set it in there. Then you've got your wear plate, again greasing it up. Helps it slide in a little better, creates good seal. And there are certainly more elegant ways to do this, but a piece of wood and a hammer does just fine. I was foolish in doing this on the ground, not putting it on something, because then I have to clear out some of the dirt from the back. And there I am calling myself stupid for getting dirt in it. Alright, then slabbing a bit of grease in there. Slides on pretty easily, right up against the wear plate. And then just taking off the rubber thread protector. Next, the small bearing. washer, nut, and pin. Obviously tightening it up to the point where it still moves freely. Backing it off just a little and putting the pin in. And last, your hub cover. Pack it with grease. And give it a couple gentle boops. And there you have it, completed farm dolly. The other components for connecting it to the back of your truck. So the tongue, which goes on the same side as the bolted side of the spring. And then that there is the clamp assembly that clamps onto the beam. And then in that other section, the tongue hitch slides in and gets bolted on. And then those two pieces are used to clamp the beam to the wheel assembly. We'll make a detailed video on packing the mill up for travel. And then that piece is used to help stabilize the aluminum tube during travel.